Recently, Emmanuel Acho had to take, why should Shedeur Sanders listen to Todd Monken? He was under a ton of heat, a ton of public criticism, social media, all those things. And then he responded by like, yeah, like everybody has a bad take, but all you people with bad takes don't have all this other stuff I got. You know, what's your opinion, whether it's on the take or the reply, or even the way that the perception or the outside voices attack people's opinion?
On the reply, let me go with the reply first. I thought it was impressive. He wrote off a list of things that I didn't know anything about. Getting a call from Oprah, getting a call from MJ, you know, the books, all that different stuff. You know, that's impressive. And then I dive into the comments. You know I'm a comment creeper a little bit sometimes. The comments were like, well, if you're all of this, why haven't any of these networks called you? I was like, that's cool too. But, you know, the take itself, RC, I think it was a shitty take. Yeah, I think he admitted that. If you're a player, you have a head coach. It doesn't matter the head coach's qualification. If he's your head coach, he's your boss, you listen to your boss. This is the only way you're going to get close to winning games, or the only way you're going to get close to succeeding and doing the things you want to do in this league. Ain't no way you tell a player don't listen to your head coach under any circumstances.
Hello and welcome to another Sports Spin, where we take a sports story and we spin it. I'm Sun-EB7 and thank you for joining. You heard the video up front. I wasn't going to make another video today, that's why the first one was so long, but I forgot about this one. You know, I saw this one the other day and I looked into it and I was like, oh my man, Acho. So, just for context, I did not show the speakeasy video by which he said those things, or he responded. That's the one I was going to show. And I decided to show the one that was a lot more responsible. You know, grown men saying what grown men should say to young people about bad information. So kudos to them for doing it the right way. Now, some people will say Monday morning quarterback in hindsight's 2020. And the reason they said that, yeah, I don't want to hear all that. They said what was supposed to be said, and I can appreciate that. That's the first thing, because I'm laughing at this. I'm not laughing because I like it, because I did do a video about how people are getting on here saying whatever, and young people are watching. Some people don't care about their influence on younger people. You can hear it in what they say. But I'm not going to get into that. I'm not accusatory. I'm just saying that's, you know, they say you are what you eat. You are what you say, too. Because, you know, it's going to represent you one way or another. Bad or good, right? So, having said that, I got to say, like anybody else would say, because I have a couple people watching, too. And I got to say, that's the worst take I've ever heard. I've heard some bad things. But the reason that was the worst take is because it comes from someone who sounds like they might know what they're talking about. Sounds like they're respectable. You know, if somebody came out here and was just wilding out, just saying all kinds of crazy stuff, and then they gave some advice, and let's say the advice was bad, no one would care. Who's listening to him, right? But when you got a guy coming out here that's garnered respect because he played in the NFL and he's with some NFL, well, he's with at least one or two more NFL players, and he's garnered this respect. And then when he says that, oh, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's the wolf in sheep's clothing kind of thing. And I know he probably won't see it that way, and I'm not accusing him of trying to steer the younger generation wrong, but he is speaking to some things about himself. And we'll get into that in just a minute. But I'm going to finish my thought about, for all intents and purposes, that's the worst take ever. However, before I continue on this topic, I want to get into a couple of things, maybe three. One was to congratulate the crew at the pivot. There's other people spoke out about that too. And in there, they said he got a call from Jordan and Oprah. And for me, his response with that is, my response to that is, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China? You got a call from Oprah and Jordan. And on the pivot, they gave you kudos for that. Those are some accolades, yada, yada, yada. I'm not impressed. I know I'm not the one that you have to impress, but I'm just saying, why are we impressed by that? If they called him to tell him to knock it off, then yeah, I'm impressed. You said something so bad that they had to call you. But if they call to tell you to do a good job, or if they call to tell you you're fine, well, I'm not impressed. Because they don't have anything to do with it. They didn't say it. You did. So I was confused by that take, that him saying that. So I have to do more digging to see what was the context behind it. Why did he say, I couldn't watch it all because I've been busy. But yeah, I'm curious as to that one. I don't think it makes much of a difference. But to me, the point there is, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China? The second thing, I would like to tell Acho, just man to man, grown up to grown up. I'd like to tell him that his co-hosts are brilliant. Hushmanzada and Shady, they're brilliant because they bring balance to the show. Because it's way out of balance if they agreed with some of that stuff you say. Now, I will give you some good advice, or anybody who's like this, or anybody who thinks about doing this clickbait approach to podcasts. You're talking to a lot of people, and you should have awareness of that on what you're saying. Now, I'm not your dad, so I'm not telling you what to do. You do whatever you got to do, because there's something else you spoke to on that. I'll cover that in a minute. However, I will say this. Let me say, this is the best way to say it. You got Shady and you got Hushmanzada to create balance because you like to fall on the sword. Yeah, that's what you do. You fall on the sword for the sake of, yeah. And here's what I would tell you, this advice I would give you. If you're going to make a living falling on the sword, then your best friend better be a damn surgeon. I'm just telling you. You're going to need a surgeon if you're going to fall on the sword every day. And that said, Shady and Hushmanzada are surgeons. Because they unravel your crap every time. So here's the thing that I was impressed with. I wasn't surprised, though. When Acho gave that outrageous take, and then they was listening to the retake, and Acho said, "What did I say? We're 42 minutes into the recording. What did I say that no one could agree with on?" And Shady promptly said, "I disagree with all of it." You know why I'm laughing? Because I'd have said the same thing. Probably worse. I'd have said, "What the hell are you talking about?" So here's the thing. Shady is going to keep it real. And I think that might be part of the platform. That might be the way it's designed. I'm saying that because I believe that all of those guys on there are smart. I do. I don't believe there's no dummy on that show. So, but some of the comments coming out of it will make you question that. But if they said everything right, I guess they wouldn't have a show because there's all this competition out here. So I get it. But I can appreciate Shady because it just flies out. He just says what's on his mind. And I can always appreciate a guy like that because you always know where he stands, but he always keeps you balanced. Especially when you get out there on your own for a little bit. You know, some people like to go out there in no man's land and say something they ain't got no business. You don't tell no kid to not listen to no coach. But I'm back to the subject. Just when you think it can't get any worse. Oh, yeah. So, Acho, He goes out and he goes to defend himself. Now, let me tell you something from an older guy. The minute a person explains to you why he said something, there's something wrong with it. He knows it. Because if there's nothing wrong with it, he don't explain. And I would say to Acho, if you're going to go out there and sound like that, then you got to play the whole part. You can't go and star in a Hollywood movie and leave in the middle. You got to play the whole movie. Okay? So when you go out there and say that outrageous take so you can get the clicks, don't come back and act like you knew better. You was just seeing what somebody's going to say. No. Then when they came back at you about it, you should have said, well, whatever. That's how I feel. You got to play it out. You can't. You messing it up. I'm just saying, you've got to play it all the way out. You already started out bad. There ain't no use in flipping back over the fence and get good. Let them have that. Let Shady and all your other guys, let them have the good side. You chose the bad side. Telling guys not to listen to a coach. Now, we ain't worried about that information to Shedeur, of course. He's got a dad. And you see what his dad has taught them. He ain't listening. But I just, this is for the other people that maybe not have a person in their life to say, hey, don't listen to that. Don't take that. That's why you got the pivot. And you got different channels that'll address that and say, hey, you got to do better than that. But anyway, Acho goes out and says, no. Okay, here's why. Here's why. When he said that, it sounds believable. Oh, he can ready to explain it. Here's why. Here's why I came with that. He comes out and says, I'm ageist. I got to admit it, I'm ageist. This is Stephen A. Smith's son. I'm going to start calling him, damn that Acho shit. This is Stephen A. Smith's son. This is Stephen A. Smith Jr. He going to switch it up like that, and he went worse. Because Stephen A. do that. Sometimes when he go to explain himself, he goes south. His explanation made it worse. You would have been better off just leaving it like it was. He goes to explain it, and this shit get worse. Acho came back and said, I'm ageist. First of all, you ain't old enough to know any examples of what you're talking about when you say ageist. Meaning, you haven't run a study to say this many... Here, I'll tell you what. This was easy for me. The minute I heard him say that, I said, wait. 3 out of the last 5 Super Bowls was won by who? Oh, the Chiefs. Who's their coach? Andy Reid. Oh, last time I checked, he ain't no spring chicken. So where's all this success from the younger coaches you talking about? Yeah, that was it. To me, that comment was worse than the damn kid comment or the coach listening to the coach comment. So now I know everybody watched Schoolhouse Rock, and the part on Conjunction Junction. What's your function? And he says, out of the frying pan and into the fire. They cut the sandbags, but the balloon wouldn't go any higher. That's what I thought of when I heard Acho go there. I was like, I thought you was about to fix it. You just made it worse. I'm 30 years old and I'm ageist. Oh shit. Woo. I Stephen A. somewhere mad. How you gonna take my shit from me? I'm laughing at this shit. I'm like, see, that's why when he first did it, I saw the title, I saw what happened, and I said, nope, they ain't getting me. I'm not looking at that. I'm not even trying it. I already know what this is gonna be. And then it spread out so far that you couldn't get away from it. So I had to listen to a few takes, see what happened, and then he made his rebuttal. And then I was like, oh yeah. Woo, this has got to be a plan. There is no one this bad. You had to plan this out. Acho, there is no freaking way you're going to convince me this is how you think. But it might be. I mean, you're grown. You think how you want. But I'm just saying, when you're being ageist, you probably need to own something. Having said all that, I got my little laughs out. Having said all that, I still like the channel. I still like Speakeasy. I think it's a great channel. I think those guys have fun doing what they do. This was not This was not me trying to bash him or trash him. This was just me saying, hey, you know, when you're going to take all them outlandish topics, let the other guys take over after you messed up. No, let them take over and let them say what they think. And you just stay on what you own. That way, no one will ever know. I mean, can you imagine if the WWE or F or whatever they call it now, can you imagine if those wrestlers jumped out and then start introducing themselves and shaking hands after the match? No one would come back and see it. They got to play it all the way out. Hell, I know. I didn't come back and see it as soon as I found out it was fake. I was 12. I was like, this is fake. I never came back to see it. So you got to play it all the way out, man. If you're going, you know, if you're trying to get in Hollywood or wherever you're trying to go, you got to, you know what I'm saying? You got to play it all the way to the end. That's all I have for today. Thanks for joining. Hope you like, share, and subscribe. And just remember, this sports story has been spun. Take care.